guys that are doing this have long-term deals. I just can't believe that the game has changed that remark, but there's a huge change. Today's quarterbacks want to be more than quarterbacks. These guys, they want to pick the coach, pick the players. It's an interesting dilemma.
It's a dilemma? Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back NFC championships. Who's that a dilemma for? Seattle wins 10, 11 games a year. That's a dilemma? Yeah, Tom Brady. I know Bruce Arians wakes up every morning. Whoa, I have got a dilemma on my hands here. I'm going to have to build a Super Bowl trophy room, not a case. These are dilemmas. Divas. So let's address the life was better in the good old days. These guys are divas. So let's start with Russell Wilson. Seattle, Pete Carroll, who I like a lot. He's come on the show. He'd been fired twice in the NFL. First 2 years in Seattle, losing seasons. He had to win or he was going to get canned a third time. Never get another NFL job. Drafts Russell Wilson third round. Within 2 years, he's the toast of the league. Commercials, $7 million a year. Pete then makes several clunkers hirings on his offensive line staff, like the offensive line coaches, couple clunkers. Russell Wilson gets hit so many times, it sets an NFL record. He runs an offense that is so outdated, Seattle has to change coordinators because people are mocking the Seahawks in the analytic world. Russell Wilson, the diva, voices some frustration. That's a diva? Let's go to Deshaun Watson. His head coach attempts to be a general manager in Houston. It's a disaster. His owner lies to him. They trade his superstar wide receiver for a second-round pick. That's it. For a brief time, the organization is run by a former team chaplain in New England. Deshaun Watson, the life preserver in a sinking ship, says, I'm out of here, man. I'm over this. It happened for years and years and years. That's a diva. Aaron Rodgers, his team doesn't even compete in the free agent market. They can his quarterback coach, don't tell him. They draft his replacement off an NFC championship year. And Green Bay over the years has let go of receivers he really likes and has been public about it, like Jared Cook, the tight ender, Jordy Nelson. Aaron's like, okay, I'm over this. I'm 37 now, and that's supposed to be a diva. Listen, Randy Moss, Antonio Brown, T.O., I've heard, the line, they're divas. You can make an argument with those guys. I get it. A lot of wide receivers in the NFL have had their moments. But a quarterback who's a superstar, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Aaron Rodgers, simply seeking competency from the person who runs their franchise, I don't know. That doesn't feel like a diva to me. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can be prickly. He won't appear on this show. I struggle with that. I'd love to have him on. Russell Wilson, sometimes he runs into his own sacks. And Deshaun Watson is not a great natural thrower. He's not a perfect quarterback. But all three of these guys, they're just seeking competency. I mean, LeBron James, great example. How embarrassing is it that people in Cleveland once burned jerseys because he's left? Think about this. LeBron James, 3 times before he got to Cleveland, they were the worst team in the league. He left Cleveland to Miami. They became the worst team in the league. He left Cleveland for the Lakers. Once again, first or second worst team in the league. They are utterly incompetent, ownership down. At least the second time Cleveland fans didn't burn jerseys. LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland if you could have gotten him a top GM, stayed with a GM, given him consistently good players. Diva, and listen, I'm from Seattle. It was a losing franchise. We were known for the Kingdome and really loud fans. We were a losing franchise. We had been fun. We were interesting. Our fans were crazy. We played in a weird Kingdome. And And then Russell Wilson showed up, and the Seahawks are a perennial Super Bowl contender. Last year, Seattle's disappointed the way the season went. They were 12-4. and Seattle is like now, Russell Wilson's like, hey, we need to get better. That's called standards. Russell Wilson has standards. Aaron Rodgers has standards. Deshaun Watson has standards. I mean, Ron Wolf, I know he's a legend, but he needs to join the Just Stop Talking Club. He left the NFL 20 years ago. It was different. 20 years ago, look it up. It's called Google. You could literally have an average quarterback, your best player be a running back, have a good defense, and make Super Bowls. That 25 years ago, that happened a lot. Like you really didn't throw the ball much. And then everything changed. Safety rules changed. You couldn't hit the quarterback. You can't hit wide receivers. You used to be able to grab a wide receiver when the ball was hiked, shake him, throw him, toss him, ride him down the field. And then if he caught it, go high, knock him out. You can't do any of it. You can't hit the quarterback. Good God, if you accidentally are pushed into a quarterback's knees as a defensive lineman, penalty. You can't hit anybody. You can be thrown out of games. At college, you are. You can't grab wide receivers now. I mean, the league, all the rules are for offense. All of them. What's that mean? It means when the greatest coach in the history of the game, Bill Belichick, loses Brady, he can't even have a winning record in the AFC East. Forget the AFC West, the NFC West. Patriots had a losing record in the AFC East. It means that Patrick Mahomes now is worth $45 million a season. And we're calling that a team-friendly deal. The Mahomes deal is like, whew, the Chiefs got off easy on that one. How much are they paying him? More than LeBron. The world's changed. Because the NFL's never been safer. Honest to God, it's amazing how often you get to a Super Bowl, in the last 6 or 7 teams, only one will have like injuries. I mean, if you take out the Chiefs' left tackle last year in the playoffs, I mean, Tampa Bay was completely healthy. That's why they're adding games. You don't hit at practice anymore. You can't hit receivers. You can't go high on tight ends. You can't hit quarterbacks. I mean, they're going to eliminate eventually either the punt return or the kick return. So the bottom line is the league is all offense. The quarterbacks are everything. I mean, last year I picked all 7 AFC playoff teams. I went 7 for 7. Why? Let's look at the quarterbacks. I mean, you start looking around, you're like, okay. I mean, don't have one. Totally limited. That's why teams now will draft a quarterback, and the very next year will draft another. Josh Rosen, well, we gave you 4 starts. Boom, we're off. Trubisky, 3rd year, yeah, we're done with you. But I made the playoffs twice. Boom, out. That's the league. So Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson are not divas. They're all-time great talents who are simply seeking competency. This is the downside to being great. LeBron James has never asked other players to be as good as him. LeBron James left Miami when D-Wade got old. They're still friends. He left Cleveland because they were incompetent. He got rid of first-year and second-year players in Los Angeles because he wanted them to be good. I went to Laker games when they had Lonzo Ball and all the Brandon Ingram. And you'd go to a Laker game in the first quarter. LeBron James would ease himself into the games and he would pass, crossing his fingers that he didn't have to every night lead the team. But invariably, none of those guys were ready to play, couldn't hit shots, would miss dunks, and LeBron would have to take over and carry the team. He didn't want to get rid of those players. LeBron didn't want to get rid of Lonzo Ball. He gave Lonzo Ball every opportunity. Kyle Kuzma. He was begging for them to be better than they were. Brandon Ingram. In the end, the downside to stardom, Aaron, Russell, Deshaun. These guys aren't demanding everybody be as good as them. I don't know, Aaron's just asking, could you give me a heads up on my quarterback coach? Could you give me a heads up if you're going to draft my replacement? It's called respect, not diva. John Lynch, general manager, San Francisco 49ers, is joining us next. Well, if you're still running your business on QuickBooks, many would say that is quicksand. The bigger your company grows, the faster you will sink with outdated software that can't keep up. You just don't have time to be dealing with the manual processes, multiple systems, scrambling to get the numbers you need.